In the news tonight, major development coming that will change the look of Bridgetown. The central bank reporting growth in the economy. Fire displaces 3 households in the city. And in sports, the Windies to bat first in their must-win T20 against Australia.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Broom. Thank you so much for tuning in. In our top story tonight, a bold new chapter is beginning on Bridgetown's historic waterfront with the official launch of the Pierhead project, a development set to transform one of the city's most iconic sites. Nesta Henry was at the launch of the multi-million-dollar project, where Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley expressed her support for the development.
The Pierhead occupies a location long regarded as the heart of Bridgetown. Once a bustling working port, this waterfront was alive with trade, culture and community, home to the much-loved Waterfront Cafe and countless memories for Bajans and visitors alike. Now, nearly 370 years after it first came to life, the site will be reimagined as a vibrant new district, an old soul with a new heart. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley says the $200 million project is a major step in transforming historic Bridgetown into a modern city.
Whether it is the Pierhead or Hyatt or the Exim Bank development or the others that will come, Carlisle House, which is under development and discussion, the Treasury Building, and I invite you all to recognize that there are other sites in between Hyatt and Pierhead, 2 sites, and indeed other sites along the Carlisle Bay route.
And the Prime Minister Motley is encouraging Barbadians to do what they need to do to cherish the memories of the Bridgetown of today.
If you came to Bridgetown 10 years from now, you better have a good memory or seek to get some photographs to remember what this capital city looked like before what we are now about to usher in.
The project will include 178 apartments, 35 food and beverage units, retail and cultural spaces, along with thoughtfully designed public areas, green spaces, and other features. Heritage will be woven into the fabric of the district, with Blackwood Screw Dock taking center stage and plans for a dedicated visitor attraction to tell the story of Barbados' world-famous rum. Investor and retired chairman of Coca-Cola, Neville Isdell, is assuring Barbadians the world-class development will respect Bridgetown's rich heritage and will help to revive the town.
We are going to be very conscious of what our footprint is on the area, and that we are not doing anything that is detrimental. In fact, what we are going to do, we're coming across things that are detrimental and we're fixing them, so that actually we will be not more than compliant with the laws. We are compliant with being sure that everything we do does not have any major negative effect on the planet.
Phase 1, running from mid-2025 to mid-2027, will bring the steel building to life with 39 apartments, new retail and food and beverage spaces, and public areas including landscaping and a heritage trail. Phase 2, scheduled from early 2027 to the end of 2028, will see the construction of the House of Pillars. And Phase 3, starting in 2029 and completing by mid-2031, will introduce the Bridge House, completing this ambitious vision for Bridgetown's new waterfront chapter. Nesta Henry, CBC News.
Barbados' economy has grown by 2.5% in the first half of this year. This was revealed by Governor of the Central Bank of Barbados, Dr. Kevin Greenidge, as he delivered the review of the island's economy for January to June 2025. Let's hear again from Nesta Henry.
Barbados' economy continues to grow despite intensifying global risks as geopolitical tensions escalate and global trade conditions worsen. Governor Dr. Kevin Greenidge says real gross domestic product expanded by an estimated 2.5% during the first half of 2025, driven by strong activity in construction, business and other services, wholesale and retail trade, and tourism.
We also saw inflation rate slowing, while the growth momentum pushed the unemployment rate down to a record of 6.3, a record low for the first quarter. On the fiscal side, government operations resulted in a primary surplus of 3.5% of GDP as higher income and transaction-based tax inflows outpaced spending. Our current account positions continue to strengthen, with the stock of international reserve rising to a record high of $3.9 billion at the end of June this year.
The business and other service sectors rose by 3.3%, driven by increased demand for financial and recreational activities, with tourism activity expanding by 8.9% and construction activity expanding by 5.8% due to multiple development projects.
In terms of agriculture, the sector edged up overall by 1.1%, reflecting higher outputs in food crops, fruit and vegetables, eggs, and poultry. Those increases will outpace declines in milk production and also fish catches during the period.
Dr. Greenidge says inflation slowed primarily due to transport, housing and utilities, alcoholic beverages and tobacco, and household furnishings and equipment. International oil and freight costs also fell.
Now, in terms of deflation, we actually have some prices being less, and that is in transport and housing, water, and electricity, these small bars below the line, compared to the same period last year. And that in itself reflects the downward trend in global oil prices, influencing domestic fuel prices, especially in the transport category.
According to Dr. Greenidge, the economy is expected to perform well throughout the year, with growth around 2.7%.
And again, that broad-based momentum in tourism, construction, business, and other services, and wholesale retail, we expect that to continue, supported by the employment position we've seen.
Dr. Greenidge adds inflation is expected to remain low and stable throughout the year, along with other improvements to boost the economy. Onesta Henry, CBC News.
Now, for the second straight day this week, workers of the Sanitation Service Authority remained off the job. Workers are protesting unpaid monies for a new incentive scheme announced by government last year. Acting General Secretary of the National Union of Public Workers, Wayne Walron, says they're working assiduously on the workers' behalf, and officials have committed to meeting next Tuesday to resolve the issues.
The workers are very incensed, and they feel that they want a more serious offer, given that over the years there have been funny for decent wage. Even some people are shocked at what sanitation worker receives, given the nature of the work, the hazards. Some of them live short life. They export to all toxins and chemicals and residues, and therefore, the workers waiting for some equitable pay.
Mr. Walron also says while it is unclear how long the workers will be off the job, the NUPW remains committed to assisting their plight.
We won't make predictions about tomorrow and the weekend, but what we will do is endeavor that we're working with the committee and the workers to get this matter advanced. That's as much as we would say.
A major debushing project is underway in the section of the Belle St. Michael, close to the Barrow section of the ABC Highway. She-Hall Construction, Inc. has been hired by the National Botanical Gardens to clear the massive space, which will eventually be beautified. Supervisor Elvis Elliott says the job site will be completed in a month's time.
We are going up to the canal just before the roundabout. We're not going to cross the gully because that, as I was told, that water runs right down into the reservoir, so they don't want to affect the flow of the water into the reservoir. So we're going to go to the beginning, and then the next phase we will start on the other end of the gully, and go to the roundabout. Follow the road right down to the gully.
Scores of people converged at the Empire Sports Club this afternoon to view the body of Alvin Toppin, the financial advisor, renowned DJ and radio personality who passed away on Wednesday, July 2nd at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Among those attending the viewing was Attorney General Dale Marshall, Minister of Home Affairs Wilfred Abrams, entertainers, DJs, sports personalities, members of the Empire Sports Club, members of the media, and many others. Tears flowed freely for Toppin, who was the Democratic Labour Party candidate for St. Lucie and party spokesperson on culture. The 52-year-old will be laid to rest tomorrow. And coming up, fire at President Kennedy Drive displaces 3 households. Several people are now homeless following a fire in Brewsters Road, President Kennedy Drive, St. Michael this afternoon. 3 houses were involved, 2 of which were destroyed. Divisional officer in charge of the Central Division, Tremel Perch, says they received a call around 12:55 p.m. Under his command, he says officers responded with 3 water tenders from Bridgetown and Arch Hall fire stations.
We are not able to say what caused it as yet. The fire is still in fire suppression mode. It's not completely out as yet, but we further investigation. We work along with the police in order to see what the cause of the fire is as much as possible. Yes, there were 5 inhabitants in one house, 2 in the other. I think a gentleman in the 3rd house that was slightly damaged, but they're all accounted for.
Member of Parliament for St. Michael West, Chris Gibbs, says those affected include a number of children, and he's calling on Barbadians to extend a helping hand.
Whenever you're called to answer to a house fire, one of the things that I dread is when there's children involved. So one house has 4 children and the other house has 2. So immediately my first instinct tells me that I need to find out about accommodations. That is the first thing that I do. So far it looks like we can find accommodation for 1 family, still searching for a solution for the 2nd. But it's a process, and I get all the other ministries involved. They're actually currently on their way, and we will put our heads together and hopefully find some temporary solutions.
Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Arthur Phillips is appealing to the public to practice proper hygiene in the wake of the increase in gastroenteritis. The Ministry of Health and Wellness recently reported 429 cases of gastro, with the last 3 weeks showing numbers above the intervention threshold. Dr. Phillips says laboratory testing in the past month has identified salmonella, rotavirus and norovirus as the most common organisms contributing to the cases. He says the public needs to seek medical attention if symptoms persist.
At the moment, it is not of particular concern, but we appreciate the population being aware and being reminded of the things that they can do to minimize risk of 1, infection, and 2, certainly if there is persistent diarrhea and vomiting, and despite efforts at dehydration, there's a concern, then persons should seek guidance from their healthcare provider.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Time for a look at sports. We'll head over to the sports studio where Amory Burke is standing by with the details. Good evening, Amory. West
Indies around the Roston Chase has reiterated the importance of building momentum heading into the T20 World Cup next year, which is set for India and Sri Lanka. The Windies trail Australia 2-0 and will have to win the 3 remaining matches to secure the series. Speaking ahead of the ongoing 30-20, Chase said they have to improve in all departments.
Yeah, well, obviously you want to take some momentum into the World Cup, and obviously you want to qualify. So I think once we can get back on that winning track, I mean, we've been in a drought for a number of series right now. So once we can find back that formula that we've been using for the past probably 24 months, 18 months, I think we'll be okay.
The most anticipated weekend of the track and field season is here. It's the weekend of the Barbados National Championships. Headlined by Barbados' top international athlete, Shade Williams, this weekend's national championships will see the island's best track and field athletes compete with the hope of not only national glory, but aiming for qualification for 3 upcoming major international championships. The World Track and Field Championships in Tokyo from September 13th to 21st, the NACA Area Senior Championships in the Bahamas from August 15th to 17th, and for the juniors, the Junior Pan American Under-23 Games in Paraguay from August 9th to 23rd. Shade, of course, will be the main contender in the women's 400 meters flat race, although it will be a delight to see her go over the 200-meter distance. But I'm sure she'll stick to just the quarter mile. After all, it's preparation for the upcoming Worlds, and with all national hope rested on her shoulders, following 2 world bronze medals, she would love to put on a local show for the crowd before heading to Tokyo. Among the senior ladies, Tia Adena Bell has had a great start to her 2025 campaign, and she's won to beat in the 400 hurdles. Need we forget at last year's championships, she not only ran away with the race, but equaled her national record. Please take note of the good form she's showing. Layla Haynes has been fastest in the 800 meters for the year, and so she too is expected to be a winner in that event. She's already secured her place as a qualifier for the Pan American Games and will be going after her junior national record. Also on the lookout for Arcadia Rock and Maya Rollins, both CRIFTA medalists. They'll be among the junior girls, rocking the 400 meters and Rollins the short hurdles. Their aim will be a spot on the Under-23 Pan Am team. On the men's side, Ross Waldron will be looking to hold the title as the fastest man in BIM, already hitting the mark for the Pan Am Games qualification. With a clocking of 10.30 seconds, he's been fastest among the Bajans for 2025. And for field, including the likes of Mario Burke and Aragon Straker, the sprint final will be a showdown. So too the 200 meters, as Waldron will be seeking the double. And while Shade will be the one to beat in the women's 400, fellow World Championship athlete Deshaun Boyce will look to conquer the men. He is one of only 2 Barbadians to break the 45-second mark and will be hoping to do so again to secure a ticket to Tokyo. In the 400 hurdles, there is Rasheem Griffith. It's him and the clock, as he would love to better his national record while hoping to get a place at Worlds. Some other names to look out for are Q1 Griffith, Kyle Gale, Darian Clark, Aja Foster, Brendan Hoyt, Nikolai Kennedy, and Raheem Tate-Best, among others. Our Caribbean neighbours, St. Lucia, will also use this opportunity as a qualification meet, sending 2 athletes, including their 110 hurdle record holder, Killan Vitalis. The National Championships get going this evening with some field events and the first track final, the men's 5,000-meter open run. The Barbados National Track and Field Championships will run through to Sunday at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex with a 4 p.m. start tomorrow and 6 p.m. on Sunday.
BYD is here to stay. The assurance from sales advisor at BYD Barbados, Kai Marquez, as he discussed the new vehicles showcased at the company's Canewood Jackson St. Michael office. He told the Business Report the company's global history has given them a good base from which to take their place in the local automotive market, as we hear from Trevor Thorpe.
BYD, or Build Your Dream. First it was the Dolphin, then the Huon Plus and the Seal. All electric vehicles and then hybrids were added to the portfolio. However, it's the safety ratings that are making the difference. Sales advisor Kai Marquez says the battery safety ratings have also moved the brand into the high demand category.
So most of the batteries we bring in are now going to be 60 kilowatt hour and larger. Even with the Dolphin that we bring in, which is our hatchback model, the smallest and most affordable model, still comes with a 60 kilowatt hour battery. So that is going to give you between 350 and 400 kilometers of range in the real world. Obviously, I give you a range just because you can drive in eco, normal, or sport. So that gives you the idea of you basically control how much range you have. If you're slamming your foot down in sport, it'll be closer to the 350. If you're driving reasonably in economy or normal, you'll get closer to the 400 mark.
The company official says expansion is in the works as the company strengthens its position in the local marketplace.
Commercial vehicles, so panel vans, things like that, that can go into the market as well. They do a good job with construction equipment as well. They do a lot of excavation equipment and stuff like that as well. So the buses, I guess, were the start to kind of introduce the Barbadian population to BYD. And now with all the passenger vehicles on the road, I'm sure people are going to be more keen to see what they bring in the future.
Mr. Marquez says customer safety is paramount, technicians are trained and cross-trained, and nothing is left to chance.
We do 8 years on the battery, we do 6 years on the vehicle. Vehicle warranty includes things like your shock absorbers, infotainment system, anything that could be a potential manufacturer's defect is really in the vehicle warranty. And then we do 5 years service as well. To be transparent, the 5 years on the electric vehicles is 5 years or 100,000 kilometers. And because you get more out of the service package with the hybrid vehicles, you get 5 years or 60,000 kilometers. But that is pretty much everything done for you. Your brake discs, brake pads, wiper blades, AC filters, engine oil, transmission fluid, everything.
Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Healthy year-to-date returns for Fortress Fund managers. The upbeat news was shared with investors at the June quarterly meeting. The portfolios were the Fortress Caribbean Growth Fund, Fortress Growth Caribbean High Interest Fund, and the Fortress Caribbean Pension Fund. The Fortress Caribbean Growth Fund gained 4.2% at the second quarter over the past year, while the Fortress Caribbean High Interest Fund gained 0.9%, and the Pension Fund gained 3.8% for the same period. The three classes of shares for the Fortress Caribbean Pension Fund, the Aggressive Accumulator, the Conservative Consolidator, and the Capital Secure, all gained between 1.3% and 3.8% respectively.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In, Pause is Power, and by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
3 Barbadian jockeys tasted success at the Woodbine racetrack in Canada yesterday. Juan Crawford on board Worry Less produced a commanding performance to take race 6, and Rico Walcott won with Madam Gwen in race 8. However, it was apprentice jockey Zarel Ford with a late surge on board Right Brightly that was extra special for the spectators. Going 6 1/2 furlongs, the winner stopped the clock in 1 minute 18.73 seconds.
On their way in the opener, Hebridean Miss began on terms and then dropped back. Coming through in the centre is Ringbit, and on the outside is Almisty's Lust, and coming for the lead is Brazilian Legacy, the race favourite, has gone out in front with in the centre Ringbit. In behind the top trio it is Daisy Crest, and on the outside Dees Candy improving, and a length and a half Hebridean Miss. Right Brightly at the back for Zarel Ford early on. They're really packing up, and just in front Brazilian Legacy a little off the inside. On the outer is Ringbit, Almisty's Lust the widest, and tucking in is Daisy Crest on the inside of Dees Candy. They're very tightly bunched, that group of 5, a length away Hebridean Miss. One away last is Right Brightly, the first quarter 23 3, and pushing the pace Ringbit, Brazilian Legacy the inside, 3 wide Almisty's Lust as they quicken, 2 to Daisy Crest, Dees Candy. Running on is Right Brightly the inside, last Hebridean Miss. Down to the quarter, taking over Almisty's Lust with Brazilian Legacy. Daisy Crest finishing around the extreme outside from Ringbit, 2 lengths away Right Brightly as they come down the stretch, and now Brazilian Legacy on the inside, a length in front. Daisy Crest finishing with a flurry, and coming through is on the inside Right Brightly, Brazilian Legacy in front. Right Brightly and Zarel Ford sneaking home as Daisy Crest has gone to the front. Right Brightly up the inside. Right Brightly coming through. Oh, Right Brightly on the inside. How does he do it? Zarel Ford's done it again.
Now, Patrick Husbands is the highest placed Barbadian at Woodbine. He's 8th in the jockey standings with 17 victories. In an effort to assist with investment into the island schools and students, the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association and the Ministry of Educational Transformation has launched the Adopt a School Futsal Tournament. 16 teams will participate in the competition, which will be played at the Oasis from August 9th to 31st. The teams, consisting of tourism and non-tourism businesses, have raised $20,000 towards enhancing the infrastructure of learning institutions in Barbados.
The Adopt a School is part of one of the projects that the team at the BHTA have created, because within our actual individual hotels and members, they adopt maybe one school or one community or one church, etc. But what we wanted to do from an association standpoint is make it a fun investment, meaning the teams that enter, they will have fun in a healthy way coming out of a hard winter and summer period. And then at the same time, those funds that come in will go into projects.
Meantime, Minister of Educational Transformation Chad Blackman says the initiative is critical for shaping the future of Barbados.
I want to take the opportunity not just to commend the BHT, as I've said, but to also use your call, CEO, to call for the rest of the country and the private sector to come on board with the government, and in particular the Ministry of Educational Transformation, in helping us to build out our transformation agenda. It's not just about the corporate social responsibility, of course. It's about investing in the future. And of course, tourism is the country's mainstay in terms of foreign exchange. And I see this, therefore, as the BHT and tourism playing its part in investing in the future of Barbados' success.
Well, earlier we told you that SSA workers were protesting unpaid monies for a new incentive scheme announced by government last year. Well, in fact, the workers received the incentives yesterday but are unsatisfied with those emoluments. They're also protesting the lack of allowances, gloves and other personal protective equipment necessary to get their jobs done. And as such, they have stopped working. And that's news for tonight. On behalf of the entire team, thanks for joining us. Good night.